Friends, delegates, and fellow Americans, I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
And so much for the conventional wisdom back when all this began. Donald Trump, the Republican nominee for president, accepting the nomination in one of the longest speeches ever given at a political convention. Dr. Jeff Engel, director of the Center for Presidential History at SMU. So he made history by just talking and talking, and the question is, what did he say?
Well, it was the second longest speech in modern presidential convention history, but he basically said the world is coming apart, the country is coming apart, and there's only one man who can fix it, and I am that man. It was a remarkable use of the word I, and
Right.
It was a speech that was very, very long on strength, very long on respect, a word he came back to time and time again, and essentially said, there's no one else who can do this but me.
And typically, one of these speeches would be about how we, the members of the party, and we, the American people, are going to do this together. We are going to get together and do it. He basically said, you need me, people. Admit it, you need me.
No, he didn't basically say it. He explicitly
Yeah.
said, there's only me.
Yeah.
There was a wonderful moment in this speech that's insightful, that the crowd began chanting, as crowds will often do, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Which is, of course, a remarkable similarity to the 2008 message of the Obama administration, which was, yes, we can. Yes, we can. And I think the pronoun really matters, because one of the things that's important about a convention is you're trying to move beyond the primary, beyond your base, beyond the people in the hall, to the broader electorate.
Right.
And there was not a lot of appeal, I think, for people who didn't already feel themselves drawn to Donald Trump.
He talked a little bit, kind of vaguely, about tax cuts. He said that his presidency will return prosperity to the country. Here's a sample.
With these new economic policy, trillions and trillions of dollars will start flowing into our country. This new wealth will improve the quality of life for all Americans. We will build the roads, highways, bridges, tunnels, airports, and the railways of tomorrow. This, in turn, will create millions of more jobs.
That almost sounds like a Democrat talking there about creating jobs with public works projects, which is exactly what President Obama and the Congress agreed to do during the recession.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of ways in which this speech was directly contrary to traditional Republican thought, traditional Republican ideology, even baseline ideological ideas. He kept saying time and time again, I will fix this. I will centralize power. I will use my power to make law and order occur. A central Republican tenet for 50-odd years, for longer than that, has been devolve power back to the people, back to the states, back to localities. And if you open up the marketplace and remove restrictions and make the federal government smaller, then the economy and the nation will do better. This is basically the opposite of what Trump is arguing.
What do you think's going on in that crowd? Is it the euphoria of the moment, the excitement of being surrounded by so many other cheering people? Because, as you said, if people stopped and listened, they go, wait a minute. The federal government's going to take power away from the state of Texas?
Well, the people who are at the convention are not only jazzed up to be there, this is the time when they all come together as a party, but also it is a party. And this is 4 days into the party, and this is supposed to be the moment that all the emotions are building to. So we should expect the people in the audience to cheer, and typically the candidate's charge is to go beyond the people in the audience. It's really, really quite remarkable. And there was a moment when Donald Trump said, I'm going to lay out specifically what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my reforms, give you my proposals. And then, I kid you not, he spent the next 8 minutes talking about Hillary Clinton. You know, it was a very exciting moment for me. I wanted to finally hear what they were going to do. But unfortunately, there's still a lot of frankly, platitudes about the country being better, my fixing it, law and order will return, without any real details.
And we're standing on the cliff of lawlessness in this country, which once again, crime on the streets of Dallas or Fort Worth or Arlington is generally seen as a local issue. And Donald Trump kind of took it on as a national challenge. Here he is.
I will work with and appoint the best and brightest prosecutors and law enforcement officials to get the job properly done. In this race for the White House, I am the law and order candidate.
As opposed to one who coddles the criminals and lets them out of prison back onto the streets. But again, generally, law enforcement is considered a local or a state issue.
Yeah, there's actually very little within the president's power that would allow him to make sure that your streets are safer, or
Right.
your streets have more law and order. But again, I have to stress that the key word here is I. And let's be very clear. This is not something that the campaign is running from. This is actually part of the message. This is the message that this is a strong man who will come in and fix the problem. So at the same time, it's a fascinating moment where we see the exact critique of Trump's campaign, which is its lack of specificity and its faith in one person, is actually the candidate's most important strength from their perspective. The lack of specificity and the strength in one person, because that he is the leader that can fix things.
Right. I want the vision, I don't want the details, and that may be true for a lot of voters as well.
Well, and he certainly presented a dark, he talked about he used the word chaos, he used the word lawless. He actually said at one point that Hillary Clinton is in favor of lawlessness. Now, I think, she might not be as strong as him, but to say that she's advocating lawlessness is something else entirely. And I think that her charge over the next week is going to be to try, in the Democrat convention, is going to be to try to tell Americans how things are going to get better for all Americans. Specifics.
We will see, and we'll see if people buy it. Thanks.
Good to see you.